Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel Top Coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked coins in American history, the 1982 1-cent coin from the United States of America. This coin may look ordinary to many people because it is just a penny, but do not let its small size fool you. The 1982 cent holds one of the most interesting stories in modern numismatics, and in certain cases it can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its variety and condition. So grab your coin jar, grab your pocket change, and let us explore everything about the 1982 penny, its history, why it is so special, and what its market value looks like today. Now let us start with the history. Before 1982, every Lincoln cent struck since 1909 was made primarily of copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc, but by the early 1980s copper prices were rising to the point where the metal content of a penny was worth more than 1 cent. The US Mint realized this was not sustainable because it was costing more money to make the coin than the coin itself was worth. So in 1982 a major change happened. Instead of copper, the mint decided to begin producing pennies with a core of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper. This change reduced the cost of production dramatically. The new pennies were now 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating. Here is where it gets interesting. The year 1982 is a transition year, which means that both copper cents and zinc cents were struck during that year. In fact, there were multiple varieties produced in 1982. There were large date copper, small date copper, large date zinc, and small date zinc versions. Altogether 8 different varieties were struck across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Collectors today love these varieties because they make the 1982 penny one of the most complex modern coins to collect. So how do you tell the difference between a copper and a zinc penny from 1982? It is actually simple. The copper cents weigh about 3.11 grams while the zinc cents weigh about 2.5 grams. So if you have a small digital scale, you can instantly check the weight to know what you are holding, and if you look closely you can also notice slight differences in the design. For example, the small date variety has a thinner number 2 in the date while the large date has a thicker and more curved 2, but the easiest way remains the weight test. Now let us talk about the value, and this is where things get really exciting. Ordinary circulated 1982 cents, whether copper or zinc, usually trade for just a penny or maybe a few cents above face value, but when you get into uncirculated coins or rare small date versions, the value jumps dramatically. For instance, a high-grade 1982 copper small date in mint state condition can sell for several $100s at auction. Even more remarkable are the rare 1982 D small date copper cents, which were not supposed to exist, but a few escaped the mint. These have sold for thousands of dollars, with some examples reaching upward of $10,000 when certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. The market today for 1982 pennies remains strong. Collectors are always on the hunt for high-grade examples because so many of these coins were used heavily in circulation, and finding a gem mint red copper cent from 1982 is quite a challenge. Prices for common large date copper or zinc cents in uncirculated condition might be in the range of $1 to $5. Depending on grade, but the small date varieties in full red luster can push values into the double or even triple digits. And again, that rare 1982 D small date copper is the holy grail for penny collectors beyond just money. The 1982 cent tells a larger story. It marks the end of an era, the end of the traditional copper penny that had been a part of American pockets for over 70 years, and it also shows how the economy and the rising cost of materials directly influence the coins we use every day. It is a perfect example of how history, economics, and collecting all intersect in a single small coin. If you are curious about whether your penny is valuable, here is a quick checklist. First, check the date. If it is 1982, then weigh the coin. If it weighs 3.11 grams, you have a copper version. If it weighs 2.5 grams, you have a zinc version. Next, look carefully at the style of the date to see if it is a small date or large date. Finally, check the mint mark. Pennies with a D mint mark were struck in Denver, while no mint mark means they came from Philadelphia. If you happen to come across a 1982 D small date copper, you have found a treasure worth serious money. So next time you get change back from the store, do not just toss your pennies aside. Take a moment to look at them. You might be holding a small piece of history, and who knows, it could be worth far more than just 1 cent. That wraps up today's video on the 1982 1-cent coin from the United States of America. We covered its history, its varieties, how to identify copper versus zinc, the small date versus large date types, and of course the current market values. If you found this video helpful and interesting, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into coin history and collecting. And as always, keep checking your change because treasure can be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of United States coins, and we are going to take a very close look at the 1-cent coin from the year 1989, a coin that millions of Americans have seen and spent in their everyday lives, but that actually holds some very interesting history, surprising details, and in some rare cases much more value than just a single cent. Now most people, when they look at a penny from 1989, think it is just another common coin that might be worth 1 cent or maybe nothing more than a copper-colored reminder of loose change in your pocket. But let me tell you, this coin has a story that stretches back through American history. It connects with changes in the minting process, in the materials used, and with the overall coin collecting market today. First, let us set the stage. The year is 1989. The United States Mint is striking billions of 1-cent coins that carry the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. That is the front side of the coin. His portrait had been on the penny since 1909, when it was introduced to celebrate the 100th anniversary of his birth. The reverse side of the coin in 1989 features the Lincoln Memorial design. That design had been first introduced in 1959 to mark 150 years since Lincoln was born. So by the time 1989 rolled around, the Lincoln Memorial design had already been in circulation for 30 years. These 1989 pennies were made mostly of zinc with a thin copper plating, and this is an important detail because before 1982 pennies were primarily made of copper. After the cost of copper rose too high, the mint decided to switch to a composition of 97.5% zinc with just 2.5% copper plating. So the 1989 penny is part of that new generation of zinc-based coins. But what makes these 1989 1-cent coins interesting for collectors is not just the basic design or composition, but the fact that there are different mint marks and different conditions that can turn a coin you find in your pocket into something worth real money. Coins from 1989 were struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, which had no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco, which produced proof coins with the S mint mark. Now let us talk about value. Most circulated 1989 pennies are still worth face value 1 cent, but condition plays a huge role in coin collecting. If you have a coin in mint state that is graded high by a professional grading service like MS-65 or higher, then its value can climb significantly. Collectors pay attention to luster, to strike quality, and to whether the coin shows any damage or wear. For example, a typical uncirculated 1989 penny from Philadelphia in a high grade might sell for a couple of dollars. Not bad for something that started as just 1 cent, but if you happen to have a particularly rare error coin, that is where things get very interesting. Error coins are mistakes that happen during the minting process, and they can make a coin far more valuable. Some of the known errors for 1989 pennies include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins that show problems with the copper plating. These can range in value from a few dollars all the way into the hundreds, depending on how dramatic the error is. Collectors love unique pieces, and errors are like little accidents of history preserved in metal. Now, when it comes to proof coins from San Francisco, those are coins that were never meant for circulation. They were specially struck with polished dies to create a mirror-like finish. These 1989 S proof pennies can be worth several dollars or more, especially if they remain in pristine condition straight out of their original government packaging. Another key factor that drives value is rarity. Now, 1989 pennies are not rare in the sense of mintage numbers. Billions were produced, but rarity within the coin collecting world often comes down to condition, survival, and errors. If out of those billions only a handful survive in flawless condition, then those flawless examples are highly sought after. So what is the current market value today? As of the most recent report, circulated 1989 pennies are generally worth just 1 cent. Uncirculated examples range from about $1 to $5 depending on grade. High-grade certified examples can sell for $10, $20 or more, especially at auction. Error coins can range from $20 to several $100s depending on the type and severity of the mistake. And proof coins in top condition also bring a premium value. It is also worth mentioning that the coin collecting market can change over time. Sometimes a coin that seems common suddenly gains popularity and collectors push prices higher, and sometimes the opposite happens. So holding onto a high-quality coin can be a good long-term investment, especially if it is properly graded and preserved. Another fascinating thing about the 1989 penny is its place in American coinage history. The Lincoln cent has been produced longer than any other coin design in United States history. Over 100 years and counting. The 1989 version represents a period in which the United States was still using the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which would eventually be replaced in 2009 with new designs to mark Lincoln's 200th birthday. So when you look at a 1989 penny, you are not just holding a piece of loose change, you are holding a snapshot of American history, a piece that connects with both the story of Abraham Lincoln and with the changes in how our coins are made. So the next time You go through your spare change, take a closer look at those pennies, especially if you spot a 1989 1-cent coin. Check if it has a mint mark, look carefully for any unusual features or errors, and see what kind of condition it is in, because you never know what you might have. It could be worth more than you expect. To wrap this up, the 1989 1-cent coin from the United States may seem ordinary at first glance, but it has a rich background, a connection to American history, and in the right condition or with the right error, it can be worth a surprising amount of money. While most examples are only worth face value, collectors know that coins like this can hold hidden treasures and opportunities, so keep your eyes open, check your pocket change, and if you are lucky enough to find a rare high-grade or error 1989 penny, you might just be holding something worth far more than a single cent. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into coins and currency, and leave a comment below if you have ever found a rare penny or if you collect Lincoln cents. I would love to hear your stories. Today we are going to talk about one of the most fascinating and most collected coins in the United States. It is small in size but huge in history and value. I am talking about the 2001 1-cent coin from the United States of America. At first glance it may look like just another ordinary Lincoln penny sitting in your change jar, but you might be surprised to learn that certain examples of this coin can actually be worth far more than just 1 cent. Some are even valued at hundreds and in very rare cases thousands of dollars, depending on their condition, mint mark, and rarity. So stay tuned until the very end of the video, because we are going to go through the full history, the design, the mintage, the possible errors, and the current market value of the 2001 1-cent coin. Let us start with a bit of history. The 1-cent coin has been a part of American life since 1793, and over the years it has gone through many design changes. The modern Lincoln cent, which features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of his birth. Since then it has become one of the most recognized and widely circulated coins in the world. By the year 2001, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for more than 90 years, and millions upon millions of them had been minted. On the obverse side of the 2001 penny you will see the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head the word liberty appears to the left, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," is written across the top. On the right side of the coin you will see the date 2001, and just under that, depending on the mint where the coin was struck, you might see either the letter D, which stands for the Denver Mint, or no mint mark at all, which indicates the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse side of the coin you will find the classic Lincoln Memorial design, which had been used since 1959. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. Above the memorial are the words United States of America, and just beneath those words you will see the motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. At the bottom the denomination 1 cent is clearly spelled out. Now let us talk about the mintages. In the year 2001 the United States Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint produced well over 6 billion, while the Denver Mint also produced billions more. That makes the 2001 Lincoln cent one of the more common modern issues. However, just because a coin is common does not mean it cannot have value. The key factor is always condition, rarity of certain varieties, and whether or not a coin has a unique error. So how much is a 2001 penny worth today? If you have an example that has been circulated, meaning it has been used in everyday transactions, then unfortunately it is still worth only 1 cent. But if you have a coin that was never circulated and remains in pristine mint state condition, then the value goes up dramatically. For example, a 2001 penny from the Philadelphia Mint graded MS65 red can sell for anywhere between $5 and $10. At MS66 red the price can jump to around $20 to $30. And at MS67 red, which is a very high grade, these coins can reach $100 or more. A few of the very finest known examples have sold for several $100s at major coin auctions. The Denver Mint 2001 penny follows a similar pattern. Lower grade examples are worth face value, but coins in mint state red condition graded MS66 or higher can be worth $50, $100 or even more, depending on the specific quality and eye appeal. The top graded pieces have also been sold at auction for several $100s. One thing to always look out for are error coins. Sometimes during the minting process mistakes occur, and these mistakes create unique varieties that collectors absolutely love. A double die obverse, for example, shows doubling of the design elements such as the date or the letters. There are also off-center strikes where part of the design is missing. There can be broad strikes, clipped planches, or coins that were struck on the wrong metal. These kinds of errors are much more rare and can sell for anywhere from $50 up to several $1,000s depending on the severity and how dramatic the error is. If you find a 2001 penny with a strong visible error, make sure you have it authenticated and graded by a professional service, because you might be holding a very valuable coin. And now let us look at proof coins. Proof coins are special coins struck for collectors using polished dies and special planches. In 2001, the San Francisco Mint produced proof sets that included the Lincoln cent. These coins have a mirror-like surface and sharp details. Proof pennies from 2001 are not particularly rare, but they are still highly collectible. A standard proof cent might sell for $2 to $5. But if you have a coin graded proof 69 deep cameo or proof 70 deep cameo, which is the highest grade possible, then the value can jump to $20, $50, or even higher depending on demand. So what is the current market like for the 2001 penny? Coin collecting remains a very popular hobby in the United States and around the world. While common examples are abundant, there is always strong demand for high-grade coins and for dramatic mint errors. Auction records show that collectors are willing to pay big premiums for coins that are among the very best known for their year and mint. If you have a roll of uncirculated 2001 pennies tucked away in a drawer, it might be worth searching through them carefully. You never know when you might come across a high-grade coin or even a rare error. To sum up, the 2001 1-cent coin from the United States may seem like just another penny, but it carries with it a rich history and the possibility of hidden value. Most are worth only 1 cent, but in top condition or with certain rare errors they can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So next time you come across a shiny 2001 penny, take a moment to look at it closely. You might just have a little treasure in your hand. And that brings us to the end of today's video. If you found this information interesting, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content on coin values and collecting tips. Share this video with other coin enthusiasts and let me know in the comments if you have a special 2001 penny in your collection. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Today we are diving deep into the world of coins that may look ordinary in your pocket but can actually be worth far more than their face value. Yes, I am talking about the humble 1-cent coin from the United States of America, minted in the year 2005. At first glance, it is just a penny with the image of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, but as you will discover in today's video, this little coin carries history, hidden details, and in some cases significant value in today's coin market. So let's begin the journey into the 2005 Lincoln penny. First, let us talk about the background. The Lincoln cent is one of the longest-running coin series in American history. It was first issued in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. For decades, it has been one of the most collected and studied coins in numismatics. By 2005, the penny had already been in circulation for almost 100 years, and it continued to feature the familiar portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse side, the coin still showed the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a design by Frank Gasparro that had been introduced in 1959. The 2005 penny was struck in very large numbers. In fact, the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced billions of these coins. The Philadelphia mint coins do not carry a mint mark, while the Denver mint coins have a small d mint mark located under the year 2005. On the obverse side, there were also some proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint with the S mint mark. These proof versions were specially made for collectors with a mirror-like surface and sharp details. Now here comes the exciting part. While most 2005 pennies are still worth only their face value, there are rare varieties and error coins that can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right collector. This is where many people are surprised because they think a modern penny has no value. But that is far from true. Let us explore some of the varieties and errors you need to look for in your 2005 penny collection. One of the well-known issues is the double die. A double die error happens when the design on the die is imprinted twice slightly off position, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the letters or numbers. For 2005 pennies, collectors have reported double dies, especially on the reverse where the letters of United States of America and 1 cent can appear doubled. Strong examples of this variety can fetch values from $50 to well over $100 depending on condition. Another important aspect to check is the quality of the strike and the condition of the coin. Collectors use the Sheldon grading scale, where a coin can be graded from poor, which is basically worn out, to mint state 70, which is a flawless coin. If you find a 2005 penny that has never been circulated with full luster and no scratches, it can be worth more. than just 1 cent high-grade examples in mint state 67 or mint state 68 have been sold in auctions for prices ranging from $50 to over $200, especially if the coin is certified by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint can also have added value. A deep cameo proof penny from 2005 graded as PR69 or PR70 is highly desirable to collectors who want perfect sets. These proof coins can sell anywhere from $20 up to $100 for the highest grades. Another interesting area is mint errors. Sometimes coins are struck off-center or on a defective planchet. A 2005 penny struck 50% off-center showing only part of Lincoln's face can easily sell for $100 or more. If you find a double-struck coin where the design is imprinted twice in a dramatic fashion, you could be looking at several $100s in value. Even small errors like die cracks or cuds where part of the die breaks off leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin can attract collectors willing to pay premiums. Now let's discuss the market. The coin collecting world is very active and values change depending on demand and rarity. On online auction platforms like eBay, 2005 pennies with unique errors or high grades are regularly listed and sold. A standard circulated 2005 penny will only be worth 1 cent, but a certified mint state example can reach $50 to $200. Major errors can bring in 4 figures if the right collectors are competing, so when you check your pocket change or coin jars at home, pay close attention to those 2005 pennies because you might be holding something far more valuable than you realize. Another point worth mentioning is the composition of the coin. Since 1982, pennies have been made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. This means a 2005 penny is not solid copper like older coins, but is 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. This is important for collectors because coins with the copper composition before 1982 are often melted for their metal value, which is higher than 1 cent. The zinc-based pennies do not have that kind of intrinsic value, but their collectible worth can still be significant when they are rare varieties. Now let us bring it all together. The 2005 1 cent United States coin may appear ordinary, but history and the coin market give it a special place. It connects us to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln and to the long-running history of American coinage. For collectors, it represents an opportunity to find valuable varieties, errors and high-grade examples that can be worth much more than their face value. If you are lucky enough to come across one of these coins in pristine condition or with a striking error, you could be holding a small treasure. So next time you come across a penny dated 2005, do not ignore it. Examine it closely, check for mint marks, look for doubling or errors, and if it appears to be in excellent shape, consider having it graded, because in the world of numismatics, even the smallest coin can tell a big story, and sometimes that story is worth a lot of money. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 2005 United States penny, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more coin collecting videos, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever found a rare 2005 penny, or do you have a special error coin in your collection? Let us know. Until next time, happy collecting and keep checking your change, because you never know what treasure might be hiding in your pocket.